Good morning, and a slightly belated, but nevertheless, a warm and enthusiastic welcome to the McDonough School of Business. We're delighted to once again host you on campus, so much better than Zoom, for the 14th Annual Financial Markets Quality Conference. So looking at the agenda, and the topics being discussed and the exceptional lineup of speakers to come, I am really grateful to the Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy and the leadership, Professor Reena Agarwal, David Van de Veer, Anna Comas, and of course to Mike Psaros and his family for all you do to put our mission of building global knowledge and inspiring our students to serve the common good into action. At the McDonough School of Business, we see business as an answer, perhaps the best answer to solving the world's economic and social problems. As a business school, which is essentially a part of the history and the fabric of Washington, D.C., we're ideally positioned to understand, to unravel, and find answers to the most complex issues that lie at the intersection of business and policy, and in this case, financial markets and policy. In addition, Georgetown McDonough is also a school that believes we need to recognize the past, but we also need to understand the very complex and evolving present. And even more than that, together shape the future for the common good. And this is why this conference that discusses the issues of the future, including ESG and market disclosure and digital assets and crypto legislation and so many others. And we can see even this morning, so much has changed already. It's so important that McDonough brings you together, the best minds, the best hearts maybe from business and policy, along with the people who are going to most change our future, our students, and to discuss important issues and help us create a path forward. We are proud that our newly renamed Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy is hosting this conference on the important issues of today and tomorrow. I can think of no person who greater exemplifies this vision for the future of financial education than Mike Psaros. Mike, we are so grateful for your continued leadership and for your extraordinary commitment to our school and university, and your vision and ambition for the Psaros Center. Your generosity will have an impact on our students and alumni, on scholarship in the academic community, on leaders and policymakers in the financial center, and indeed across our country and society for many years. You are truly a patriot. Thank you. We are very grateful to have a very capable and visionary leader, Professor Reena Agarwal, guide the Psaros Center at this conference and over the next years. Also, would want to welcome, I'm not sure if I can see you, David Van de Veer, who's joined the center team and has no doubt going to make a huge impact. Thank you to our keynote speakers, our panelists for lending your expertise and insights to today's discussion. Your presence here affirms your commitment to serving a dynamic and changing world, one that we can help create through dialogue, thought leadership on key issues facing society today. Thank you for being here today, but we invite you to continue to look to Georgetown McDonough for quality events in the future on topics like AI and the future of work, the business of sustainability, business and global affairs, and so many others. We hope you will continue to partner with us on research, speak to our students and alumni, and add to the enriching experience created by our faculty and staff. It's now my pleasure to turn the mic back to Reena Agarwal to begin the next part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We've been very fortunate to have the full support of Paul and the Dean's office and the President's office and all over Georgetown. So as Dean Almeida mentioned, I'm Reena Agarwal. I'm the McDonough Professor of Finance here. And we founded this center after the last financial crisis, when there was a real leadership void in the area of finance. At least some people in the audience will remember that the CEOs of the large banks and financial institutions, they pretty much wanted to keep their head down. And the regulators were trying to figure out, what do we do? Dodd-Frank and SIFIs, and those were the kinds of issues we were talking about at that time. Our very first conference here, Larry Summers was here as a Treasury Secretary, and we were talking about the future of global finance. It was all Dodd-Frank and SIFI. And in the last few years, the world has just changed. We are talking about crypto, and we are talking about ESG disclosure. These issues sort of didn't even exist in the way they do today. So, but 2022 has actually been really eventful and busy for the Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy. And as was mentioned, I can't thank Mike Psaros and his family enough. They really believed in us. Mike and his family provided the seed capital to get us started. And now, as you can see from this lineup of speakers, we've really become the go-to place. And he saw this, and he saw that Georgetown has a really competitive advantage. When people ask me, who's your competitor? I mean, there really isn't. And, you know, it's not about competition. It's really about how do we make the financial markets extremely strong, because that impacts, it impacts Main Street, right? So again, Mike and his family have provided this transformational gift that's going to take us to a whole new level. And the idea is really to bring market participants, policymakers, regulators, add to that the rigor of academia, and be unbiased and bring all sides of the view to the table. That's what we are trying to do. And we are going to have a number of visiting scholars, visiting fellows, I should call them, at the center, who are thought leaders in different areas that we are working on. And as Dean Almeida mentioned, David Vanderveer joined us last month as the executive director of the center. David brings more than 2 decades of experience at the highest levels of financial policy. He was at the White House, Chief of Staff for Council of Economic Advisors, in the Treasury Department, in the Senate, and most recently at BNY Mellon. So really, you know, that intersection of the private sector and policy, that's what we are all about. So I'm delighted David is here. David, where are you? David is making sure this is running well, so he's probably outside. Okay. You know, it's just amazing, the conversation that we just had with Chair Gensler. There is so much going on right now in terms of finance and in terms of policy and regulation. This didn't happen even after the 2008 crisis. So we really are situated very well to address these issues. And we are in the business of educating students, but we are also in the business of educating the wider society, whether it's staffers on the Hill or it's working with the people at the IMF and World Bank. That is part of our mission. I mean, there's such a direct connection between finance and Main Street. Sometimes people just think finance is greedy, right? But if finance is not working well, if the treasury markets are not working well, right, people won't get their paychecks, innovation won't happen, job growth won't happen. So sometimes we forget that, and just people, at least on Main Street, sometimes think that finance is all about just watching out for themselves. At Georgetown, we really believe that finance needs to make sure that it's working for all parts of our society. That's very important for us here at Georgetown. So right now, our work continues to be focused on market structure issues. Crypto and digital assets have become a big part of our work. ESG disclosure has become a big part of our work. We're already very well known, the work that we've done on the G part, the governance part, and we're doing a lot more on the E and S part, and really look forward to hearing from you. And we have a very ambitious agenda. It's not a 10-year agenda. I really see that in the next 6 months to a year, we're going to get a lot done. We're going to move with a sense of urgency. So we'd love to get your thoughts and have you as partners in this journey. I do want to thank a number of people and organizations. First of all, Gillian Tett is here from Financial Times. The FT is a partner of ours at the center, and we really appreciate that partnership. I want to thank, we'll see right here, our board of advisors of the Psaros Center. We have a terrific board of the Psaros Center, and several of them are in the room today. Joe Amato, Newberger, Bergman, and Andy Blocker is here. Mike Piowar is here. Mark McPeace is here somewhere. Stacy Cunningham is here somewhere. And Fever is here somewhere. I'm really grateful to this tremendous group of people who are going to help us, who are helping us in taking the center to the next level. There are a number of other people I want to thank who've helped put today's event together. First and foremost is Anna Kormas. Anna is probably outside taking care of things. There's Anna right at the back. A huge applause to Anna. Anna is the assistant director of the center. She's the one who really brings everything together and works with the whole team. Teresa Mannix, Sammy Krause, and the whole communications and marketing team have been of huge help to us here. Chris and folks running the IT, AV, cameras, a big thank you to them. I also want to thank Prozac Partners. They have been helping us on the PR front and they have been of tremendous help there. And then most importantly, I want to thank our faculty associates of the center who are from the business school, not just from finance, but also other areas of the business school. We also have faculty associates from our law center, from a public policy school. So really, this is a center that's housed in the business school, but it's a center that's a Washington, D.C. center. And Washington, D.C. is the nation's capital, but I think of Washington, D.C. as a global capital, right? And our work in finance is global in scope. Again, I can't thank Mike Psaros enough and his family. We want to play a short video to honor the family and Mike and what they've done and what it'll allow us to achieve.
The first time I understood the vision for the Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy was when my mentor, Dr. Reena Agrawal, came to me in the aftermath of the great financial crisis and explained that there was an enormous amount of proposed legislation that would have had enormous impact, not just on business finance, but rather on society.
I said Georgetown needs to step up to fill this leadership void, and Mike completely agreed, and he immediately provided seed capital to form the center.
I made the first $500,000 contribution to put the center in business. And I am in awe of the center's accomplishments over its first decade. 10 years ago was step one. This is now a major step two. My family's making this $11 million transformational gift to see the Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy manifest itself and reach its true potential. And hopefully I will spend the next decades working with Dr. Agrawal and the professional staff that we're going to hire here at the center, speaking the truth and speaking objectively about financial markets and policy.
And now, with this new gift from the Psaros family, we are prepared to realize the full impact of the Psaros Center as the preeminent center on markets and policies through expanded opportunities for research and scholarship, in global convenings and lectures that take advantage of our location here in Washington and the many strengths of our university.
The wonder of the Psaros Center for Financial Markets and Policy is that we can actually embrace a very complex future in finance. We're going to be able to share our understanding with business and politicians and policymakers, and we're going to be able to make a big difference to ourselves and to the world.
At Georgetown, we can do deep research. We have extraordinary faculty that we pull in from all parts of Georgetown who provide thought leadership. We are brokers between policymakers and practitioners, and our recommendations are driven by research. That is the role that the center plays. Students play a huge part at the center in terms of doing research, addressing the biggest issues, and so students have a great opportunity. What the Psaros family is providing us now, it really is going to help transform what we are doing at the center, but more broadly, Georgetown's reputation, McDonough's reputation, and the impact that we can have.
This is a perpetual endowment. This center will be here when we are not here anymore.
Mike brings so much passion and energy to this endeavor, and I can't wait to see what we can do together.
We are going to be the convener to make this country better and to make the world better. That's why the Psaros Center matters. I'd like to thank the university. I'd like to thank President DeJoy. I'd like to thank Dean Paul. I'd like to thank my mentor, Professor Agrawal, Dr. Agrawal, for the blessing and the privilege of having my family associate itself with the Center for Financial Markets and Policy. For my family, and it was a family decision, this was not an act of philanthropy. This was an act of patriotism. This center is the only nonpartisan, totally objective center in the District of Columbia and probably this country to have discussion, discourse, debate about matters that around policy, as Dr. Agrawal just said, that affect all Americans in the world. If you think about the nexus of business, the economy, legislation, and regulation, it's financial policy that affects everyone from Main Street all the way up to Wall Street. We, over the last 10 years, have created the preeminent center for financial markets and policy. My family's gift this spring is now going to transform and elevate the center into the preeminent center of its kind in the United States. As Dr. Agrawal said, we really don't have competition today. And the objective for us, for my family, was to create a better country and a better world. So thank you for being here today.